We'll be back from the break. You're still watching Smart Means Business. Your daily kickstarter, Amanju Barija, is driving you all the way here. And definitely at this point in time, we're heading into take a look at what's happening into our media. When it comes to our inspiration moments, with our business tips and quotes. But of course, before we get into that, still I would love to remind you that the markets on the Zabo platform just about 12 to 13 minutes still are left for them to be operational, and for you to be a part of them, it's quite very simple. The *292# is the code that will lead you there, and you will be availed with options where you'll be in position to actually purchase, that is government securities, at just 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now the markets are going to be opening at exactly 8:15, and the whole shall be run all the way. That is to 3:15 p.m. That is East African time. That is effective Monday up to Friday, apart from the weekends and the public holidays, when those markets cannot be accessed. But of course, despite that, you have the days to capitalize and make money. So Zabo made that a reality for you, and of course, on top of *292#, you have to register with your national, that is, identification number. That's why Zabo says, well, my money, my future, and Altex East Africa says, do something new. Well, at this point in time, let's take a look at our business tips and quotes. Well, you gotta think big, and also at the same time, you gotta trust yourself. When you combine those together, you will definitely make it in there. Well, that is it for our inspirational moment, and now let's switch our eyes and take a look at our social media trends. What's really trending out there? Yeah, now of course this is at the Daily Monitor, and something to do. Yeah, President Museveni says that I want to inform everybody, starting with Ugandans, that Uganda will develop with or without the loans. President Museveni tells the World Bank, which has suspended offering new loans to Uganda, demanding that the anti-gay law is tracked down as a result of that. Yes, that is a Monitor update, Daily Monitor. Okay, now this is at Kaguta Yoweri Museveni, Ugandans especially, the Bazukulu greetings. Yeah, things are moving well in Uganda in spite of the corruption of some public servants, and of course some elements of the political class. Now, last night, an official from the World Bank rang me to alert me about the statement from the World Bank regarding the suspension of any new requests from Ugandan loans. I want to inform everybody, starting with Uganda, say Uganda will develop without their loans. Okay, that is, Ugandans can never be serious. Yeah, somebody in there praying, is praying in there, of course, in regards to what has been happening, suspensions of loans. Now, this is Matthias Mpuga says it's weak since a boat capsized and dropped about 20 Ugandans into Lake Victoria. Now, the entire time the Chad regime hasn't found a reason to support the search for the dead, and of course leave alone now reaching out to the brave families. Yeah, that is, of course, the English is a little bit, that is at Matthias Mpuga writing a tweet in there. Okay, now this is at One Pass Jadwal. It says the documentary Bobby Wine of the People's President has already been translated in Uganda. Ugandans don't joke. Anyway, actually, I saw some VJ in there in Japan was actually translating this documentary, so it was really moved places as a result of that. Now, this is at UG Lawyer. That is after the 1986 bandits. No one robbed the Ugandans like Umeme. And now installation fee is over 500,000 and electricity bill aside. That is at the purchase of Yaka each month. Umeme charges about 4,000 as service fee. Now, if you don't purchase the units for a number of months, the service fee accumulates and is recovered. That is from your next purchase. Money haste is overrated. I mean, that is something coming in from at UG Lawyer, making those regards from that. Okay. Now, this is at Amanya Stewart. He says the collaboration aims to bridge the gap between communities and financial services, ensuring, of course, digital financial inclusion for all. And Wendy is set to revolutionize the way Ugandans can access, that is, financial services. Okay. This is at KCB channel. I want to inform everybody that starting with Ugandans, that Uganda will develop with or without the loans. This KBC News channel pointing out that as a result of what is happening in there. Well, that is it in regards to our trends. Well, at this point in time, as we head towards our other discussion in here, something to do with fighting financial crimes. You know, I mean, we know that these are actually categorized in quite a number of them, you know, and yeah, being committed in there. And we see something to do with public servants who have been warned that is against illegal money. Of course, when we talk about such matters, we cannot rule out the aspect of the money laundering aspect, which has really been happening to the extent that actually Uganda has been listed. It's on the grey list as we speak right now when it comes to those nations that are being affected largely with money laundering. And actually, I remember we're given a deadline of about, I think, in the next 2 months. We should sort it out. Otherwise, if we do not, actually, that means we shall definitely cross into, that is the blacklist, you know, and we're crossing there. That's where we shall actually get to see, you know, that things won't be actually the best in results of that. Now, we have Honorable Machiaka Saija, the Minister of Finance, talking about such matters. And let's get into this discussion. And definitely, I'll be returning to sum this up.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt that the government of Uganda is committed to the fight against financial crimes which generate proceeds and create negative consequences for our economy. Let me repeat this, please. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt that the government of Uganda, because I wanted the journalists to, these paparazzis, let them pick this one, that there is no doubt that the government of Uganda is committed to fight against financial crimes which generate proceeds and create negative consequences for our economy. However, as you may realize, laws are insufficient in their own. It is therefore important that we collectively work together to achieve our goal. The purpose of the implementing anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing measures is to stop criminals and terrorists from abusing our financial system. Through effective implementation of these measures, we can help trace and stop the financial flows linked to serious crime and terrorism and make our society safer. A national task force comprising all MDs which are involved in implementing the anti-money laundering CTF framework is in place and active. It is my sincere hope that we will continue with this coordination mechanism to ensure that we deny criminals an opportunity to thrive from illegitimate activities. If you want to become rich and die rich, and you are admired in society, never go for something that is not yours. And some civil servants here, I'm warning you, I'm an old man, you know that very well. I'm reaching 80 years next year. Please don't take what is not due to you. Have you heard me? That's when you will enjoy that wealth. You know, people do things, they say, banantegera. Oh, one day when you have retired somewhere, you will see police officers coming with the pingu to catch you and say, you stole, you took what was not yours, please let's come. You end up in the police station. Tomorrow they take you to court. They have all the evidence. You are taken to the Zira. Your assets which you thought you stole very secretly, those assets will be, they will be, what the right word? They will be sold. Now, have you gained? Take what belongs to you.
Now, of course, the finance minister, Macheka Saija, threatened to cause that is a freeze, of assets of public officials involved in that is money laundering schemes. I think, like I said before, it's all connected to the report of putting Uganda on the grey list. Now, Mr. Kasaija made the remarks during the launch of a report authorized, that is by the Financial Intelligence Authority, that profiled money laundering activities that is within, that is outside the country. Now, of course, as remarks as he has said there, they are going to do whatever it takes and slowly, and of course those victims will actually bear the consequences of what they have actually engaged themselves into as a result of that. Now, still we see that the report titled Money Laundering and Terrorism Financing, Financing National Risk Assessment for Uganda is the second risk assessment report that is covering the period from April 2017, that is to June 2021. Now, the assessment of money laundering threats was based on a review that is which was done, as I'm reviewing something from here. I think it was actually into the national news in the Daily Monitor, and quite a very huge report following that discussion. Now, the assessment of money laundering threats was based on a review for all crimes based on their scale and nature, that is both domestically and internationally, with an estimated proceeds generated and the capacity of the criminal actors to launder, that is proceeds, and sectors used to launder those proceeds at the same time. Now, of course, the FIA report singled out banking and real estate as high-risk sectors that proliferate money laundering activities, that is within and outside the country, that is at the same time. Now, a major money laundering case highlighted in the report shows the Inspectorate of Government arrested, that is on the principal engineer in the Ministry of Works and Transport for the suspected illicit and enrichment of money laundering activities. So, there is the Albert aspect that is coming up in here, most especially in Uganda. Now, as much as we're talking about money laundering, because there are there are quite lots of amounts of money that actually land onto accounts of the different people in the banks. And some of the people, the source of this money is quite unclear, and with the developments in ICT solutions, there is this aspect of banks. I mean, there is a question of how banks are capitalizing, how are they using the ICT solutions, the developments, to make sure that they can actually come up with solutions that can tackle this money laundering. This can be done like through cross-checking the accounts, and making sure that all the money that is coming in through has clear channels. I don't think people, once that is done, that could be, it would be inevitable to track down that. Now, the money laundering rate that is from the real estate business is rated high. With several players, including real estate agents. There is real estate developers, builders, financial institutions, that is property managers, and corporate in-house real estate officers, and so many among others. Part of the people that actually martially engaged in money laundering. Now, Financial Intelligence Director for Analysis and Monitoring, Samuel, that is where Wandera attributed the laundering activities, that is, to vulnerabilities in resource constraints and largely informal sector whose cash-based transactions actually are not monitored. So you can see the dominancy of the informal sector, cashless economies. It can't be monitored as a result of that. But also, somebody could be asking themselves, why are people actually doing this? Why is the aspect happening highly? And not only just in government. Of course, I understand the Ministry of Finance mentioned about anyone in government, yeah, but we have a big percentage of people that are out there away from the government that are actually doing money laundering. Now, the ultimate question is that, why are those people doing this thing? Do they do it out of passion? Do they really do it because they feel like they want to do it? That's always the first question that we should examine before we can actually throw stones onto these people. Of course, take a look at the constraints in the economy. People are frustrated. And now, this is a time, a country like Uganda is a nation that is at its peak of desperation. And what I mean by desperation is not from the government perspective, but I'm talking about the individuals within the country, the citizens within the country, that desperation. So definitely somebody will engage into money laundering because it seems to be one of the quickest ways to actually be rich in the country, Uganda. So that is something which is done. But in the long run, once it's not really sorted, it can impact us in some sort of a way. Yeah, because if there is something unclear, and you see, once our country gets into the blacklist, what does that mean to the direct foreign investments that we target at the end of the day? They will also be limited in some sort of a way. So you can see really how hard it is for a nation to be in that perspective. Now, still on this report on money laundering, the report shows the money laundering rate for cybercrime is orchestrated through email and website scams, in which it swindled people huge amounts of money by non-existent products, all exchange that is for the promise for some future returns. I know that's something which people really like so much. Now, of course, some of the cases here in April 2021, a certain bank in Uganda, of course, the name was not mentioned in here, allegedly lost about 3.5 billion. That is about $972,000 in forex exchange fraud. That is in 2021. Now, these are the cases of money laundering. A bank lost 3.5 billion. Now, police detectives were told that some employees in the bank had been selling forex currencies to individuals at a rate lower than that was sanctioned, which was sanctioned by the bank, and pocketing the differences, leading to financial losses in excess, that is of 3.5 billion billion Ugandan shillings. Now, obtaining money by false pretense and, of course, Dana Miss Coin Resources Limited, of course, We see the company with 3 directors. You know, I mean, these are quite some of them money laundering cases that have been happening. Just like I've been saying, it's being put out to the government, right? Government workers, but we have quite way more people in the private sector, you know, not in government, that are engaged into the money laundering activities. And once that is what Uganda is known for, trust me, in some sort of a way, it will affect the foreign direct investment. But why are people doing it? Well, they are frustrated, like I said, and money laundering seems to be one of the only ways they can actually earn a living and survive, and, you know, live a life in that way. But the Minister of Finance has come out particularly for the government workers in there. Once you are held, once you found a victim of money laundering, well, by all means, your assets will be frozen and everything of yours will be put to freeze. Well, that is it for now. It's exactly 23 minutes past 8, and now as I speak now, the long-awaited hour is here as the markets on the Zambia platform are on. Star 292 hash is simply the code to avail with options, while you'll be in position to buy these government bond securities for just 50,000 Ugandan shillings. The markets, as I speak right now, they are on and they opened at 8:15 a.m. and they'll be running all the way to 3:15 p.m. That is East African time. That is effective Monday up to Friday, apart from the weekends and the public holidays when these markets cannot be accessed. But of course, despite that, you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make money. Something which I believe is quite very key and instrumental when it comes to your financial development as an individual. Zama made this a reality. That's why you need to be a part of this. And also remember, on top of Star 292 hash, you gotta register with your national identification number to proceed efficiently. That's why Zab says my money, my future, and Old Texas Africa tells you, well, you gotta do something new. Remember, it is 2023. We'll take a short break, and when we return, I shall be taking a look at what's happening on entertainment and the sports at the same time. And of course, our movie review today for the fans of the horror movie known as Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. And that's what I'm going to be coming up to review today as we take a look at the behind the scenes and what did it really take to make this movie. More of that coming up after the break.